Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something I think a lot of people feel. That sense that even with all the progress, more wealth, better health, more freedom, something just feels, well, a bit off.
Definitely.
We're diving into Mark Manson's Everything is Fact, a book about hope to try and figure out this whole crisis of hope thing.
It's a really interesting contradiction, isn't it? Objectively, things seem better in many ways,
Yeah.
but subjectively, a lot of people feel more anxious, maybe even despairing. Manson suggests, and it makes sense, that maybe technology, seeing everything happening globally, comparing ourselves constantly, it contributes to feeling overwhelmed.
Right, even if your own life is pretty good.
Oh.
So how does Manson actually define hope? It's not just like wishful thinking.
No, not at all. He says real hope needs basically three things. One, you got to feel some sense of control.
Okay,
Two, you need to believe something is valuable, worth striving for.
makes sense.
And three, you need community, support from others. If one of those legs is wobbly, the whole thing gets fragile.
And he links hopelessness directly to things like anxiety and depression.
Right.
Not just the opposite of happy.
Exactly. He argues it's a root cause. And he explains why it's hard to maintain hope with this great analogy, the consciousness car.
Ah, yes, the car. Explain that.
So picture your consciousness as a car. Your feeling brain, your emotions, that's the driver. It's got its hands on the wheel, foot on the gas.
And the thinking brain.
The thinking brain, it's just the navigator holding the map. It can suggest routes, point out dangers, but it isn't actually driving.
So feelings are really in charge.
Pretty much. It builds on ideas from, well, ages ago. Plato talked about reason versus emotion. Hume, too. Freud, obviously. And more recently, Kahneman and Tversky showed how our logic gets overridden all the time.
Uh-huh. Like when you know you should go to the gym, but you just don't feel like it.
That's your feeling brain winning. It explains that disconnect between knowing and doing.
Okay, so that leads into something he calls the uncomfortable truth, which
Yeah.
sounds uncomfortable.
It kind of is. The core idea is that, cosmically speaking, there's no inherent meaning to human existence. We're just here.
Right. That could sound pretty bleak.
It could, but Manson flips it. He says accepting this lack of built-in meaning, is actually freeing. It lets us build a more resilient kind of hope because we have to create our own meaning
For what?
through our values, what we choose to care about, and through connecting with other people. Building meaning ourselves, not waiting for the universe to hand it over.
And this connects to how he talks about pain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That it's not just bad.
Yeah, absolutely. He argues pain is, well, fundamental. It's part of life. And trying to avoid it completely is a mistake. Growth, building resilience, finding meaning that often comes directly from dealing with hard stuff.
Choosing your struggles, he calls it.
Exactly. Choosing what problems you're willing to engage with, what's worth suffering for. That's key to a meaningful life, not just chasing constant happiness.
Okay. But he also talks about the downsides of hope itself, which is interesting.
Right. It's not all good. For one, a desperate lack of hope can make people vulnerable to, extreme ideas that promise easy answers. But even getting what you hope for can sometimes lead to feeling let down, disillusioned, like, is this all there is?
So it's about balance.
Yeah,
A realistic outlook.
precisely. He uses some powerful examples throughout the book,
Right.
like Witold Pilecki in Auschwitz.
Oh, right. Credible story.
An extreme example of maintaining hope and purpose in the absolute worst conditions. Then there's the Emo Newton idea that even scientific logic has emotional drive behind it.
And the case study, Elliot, the guy who lost his emotions.
Yeah, Eliot lost his ability to feel, and suddenly he couldn't make decisions or value anything. It shows how crucial emotion is. Even looking at someone like Edward Bernays using psychology to sell cigarettes, pure appeal to the feeling brain.
So wrapping this up for listeners, what are the big takeaways? Progress isn't automatic happiness, clearly.
Not at all. You need to actively work on it. Agency, feeling in control. Values, knowing what matters to you. Community, connecting with others. Those seem essential for building hope.
And being aware of how much our feelings drive us. That self-awareness seems key.
Definitely. Knowing the feeling brain is usually driving helps you navigate. And maybe, just maybe, accepting that uncomfortable truth about meaninglessness isn't depressing, but actually a starting point.
A way to build something real for yourself.
Right. Focus on improving things now in your own life rather than pinning everything on some perfect future.
Embrace the messiness. Find meaning in the effort. Build realistic hope based on what you can control, what you value, and who you connect with.
That sums up Manson's core message pretty well, I think. It's about finding a functional hope in an imperfect world.
Okay, so a final thought to leave everyone with. thinking about that uncomfortable truth. What meaning are you actively choosing to create in your own life right now?